Hey everybody, welcome back to Prepper Junkie. Today on the table we have a Geissele duty rifle. Not the Super Duty, this is the duty rifle. Let's get this one going. If you're going to carry a gun, you need a great holster. I personally use betterholsters.com for my concealed carry, for my out the waistband carry, and I use their gun belt also. They have over 450 models in stock, 50 different colors, 100% made in the US of A, 30-day money-back guarantee, and a lifetime warranty. What more could you ask for? Check out betterholsters.com. All right, folks, as I said, this is the Geissele duty, we actually say duty rifle, but we say duty rifle out here. Anyway, either way, this is the Geissele duty rifle. So what I'll do is I'm going to go over the features of this gun. I'll compare it to the Super Duty, which is the higher level gun to this one. And if I remember what the differences are, I will tell you. And then, yeah, we'll just go over things like that. All right, so let's start at the back. Now, this one does come with a Magpul CTR stock, meaning this has the friction lock, which I do really like. So adjust it however you would like. Push up on that little lever right here, and it locks the stock in place, and it has very little wiggle in it, and which is really nice. I really don't like stocks with wiggle, so I do like this CTR stock. It does have a couple of QD mounts here for your sling attachments. It does have a rubber butt stuck on the pad on the back here, and then you do have a couple of original sling attachments right there also. Moving down, this is, as you would expect, a Geissele buffer tube right here. And then moving down to the castle nut, it has been staked twice and the staking looks excellent. Moving down a little further, coming to the charging handle, this is a standard mil-spec charging handle that you kind of expect to see on most AR-15s. It's not the upgraded one. So on the Super Duty, they either have the ACH or SCH, the supercharging handle, or the other one, so they're ambi on the Super Duty. So this one is obviously, again, this gun is a step down from that one, so some of the features are going to be a little less, and that is one of them, the charging handle. Super easy to upgrade if you want to, though, to do that. So anyway, all right, so the upper and lower receiver is 7075 T6 aluminum, and you have kind of all your standard stuff here, obviously your dust cover, brass deflector, your forward assist. On the other side, you have an upgraded bolt, this is the Maritime bolt catch release. This is the same on the Super Duty. I really like these. It's oversized, it's really easy to manipulate. I do like that feature a lot on these. And you have a standard safety. Again, on the Super Duty, you have an ambi. On this one, you just have a regular safety. As you know, you can upgrade that if you wish to. That's pretty easy to do also. One thing I forgot to mention with the mag release right here is textured. It's a Geissele mag release, so it's not a standard kind of parts kit one. This is an upgraded mag release, so that's also pretty cool. It does not come, Geissele does not send out mags with their guns. So when I ordered the Super Duty, I thought it was really strange. It didn't come with a mag, and then I looked into it. They just don't send mags with their guns for whatever reason. So just be aware, it will not ship with a magazine. It does have a slightly flared mag well right there for easy insertion of your magazines. And then you have a enhanced trigger guard here, and you can see, maybe see here, it's stamped with a G for Geissele. And again, that's a nice touch. I like the slightly curved trigger guards. I'm a big fan of those. Okay, and then coming down to the trigger, this is a Geissele trigger as you would expect. It is the G2S trigger, so there's certain levels of trigger. There's a G2S, SSA, SSAE, and there's a few other ones. So this is more of their bottom line trigger. The G2S is nothing to sniff at, though. It is a very nice two-stage trigger, not as nice as their SSAE, which does come with the Super Duties, but these are nice triggers nonetheless. Two-stage, as I said, you've got that first stage, it's about £2 or so, and then you've got a very nice clean break, and about 2.5 pound. It's really not much at all. And then you got a little bit of let out, very positive, and tactile reset on there. Also, Geissele triggers, phenomenal. SSAE trigger is my favorite two-stage trigger on the market currently. So I am a big fan of Geissele triggers. We'll go over the bolt in just a second here. And then on the top here, we have a 1913 pick rail the whole way along here. So plenty of space to attach whatever you need. Now, moving along to the rail, it is a little different than what comes on the Super Duty, but this is still a very nice rail from Geissele. Obviously, everything's from Geissele. They make most of their own stuff now. But first things we're going to show you at the bottom here, it does have anti-rotation tabs on either side to stop that handguard from moving or rotating at all, which is really beneficial. On the on the Super Duty, they have what looks like a jigsaw piece at the top here. It kind of sits into the upper. It doesn't have these anti-rotation tabs. Either way works really well. The Super Duty, that kind of puzzle piece does look pretty nifty though, but both seem to work very, very well in my experience. On the rail here, it is a 13.5-inch rail. It does have your slots for QD sling mounts at the bottom, at the base of the rail right here. You have lots of M-lock slots at the, 1, 3, 5, 6. I mean, they're all the way around there, as you can see. So tons of room to add whatever you would like on there, which again is very nice. So very nice rails. They do make some great rails, Geissele. Now under here, we have a 16-inch barrel. It's a 1-in-7 twist. It is chrome lined. It is not cold hammer forged. Cold hammer forged is on their Super Duty line. Again, very good barrels nonetheless. No, definitely no complaints for me. 1/2x28 thread pitch is your standard, and an A2 birdcage on the front. On the Super Duty, you would get the Surefire 3-pronged war comp, I think it is. I don't mind that it comes with the A2. A lot of us, the A2 works great. And then if you're, maybe you have a different preference on what muzzle device you need for suppression or anything like that, you could just easily change that out. So I don't mind the A2 at all. Now underneath the handguard, we do have a, your gas block is right here. Now, it's a Geissele length gas system, which I believe is slightly longer than the mid-length. Mid-length is a fantastic length for the gas system, and this one is just slightly longer. And so you may or may not notice, it just may be a little smoother for you when shooting, but it's called a Geissele length gas system. We have a low profile gas block underneath here, and then I'll run some images because you're not going to be able to see this, but you do have it screwed at the bottom, and then you have it pinned through the bottom of the gas block also. So it's their bomb-proof gas block system, which is a great design. That sucker is not going to move. So very nice indeed. Now let's do the wiggle test between the upper and lower receiver. I really like to see if there's any play between them, just to see how the tolerances are. So just a smidge of a wiggle in there, and I just mean a smidge. Nothing. Again, it's not going to affect the reliability of the gun in any kind of way. It's just something I like to do. Sometimes things just drive me a little crazy, and the wiggle is one of them. But it is pretty decent. It's not perfect, but it's pretty dang close. Okay, so. Let's go ahead, open this up, and take a look at some of the things on the inside that they've done. All right, so to take it down, it's the same as any other 15. There's your 2 pins, front and back pivot pins. You can just take them out. I'm not sure where YouTube's going with some of these policies, so I don't really want to demonstrate taking the gun down, just in case. But in the back here, normally, a lot of us will get the ARs, and they'll have the very standard, stainless steel buffer spring, and then the very standard buffer in there. And here we have something slightly different. We do have Geissele's braided buffer spring right here, which is pretty cool. And then we have a Geissele H2 buffer in the back here. Typically on the AR-15s, if I can get this off, I typically like to change these out because they have solid weights in them, and I usually like to put in the stuff that has tungsten powder, so it makes it a little smoother. But this one has the weights in there. But this is their buffer system, and it is pretty dang decent. It's a nice upgrade in any AR-15. Now again, this is the standard M4 mil-spec charging handle that comes with it, and then you have your bolt carrier grip. When you get your bolt carrier grip, I always, regardless of who sends it out, what company it is, it doesn't matter to me, I always visually inspect these. So you're going to take it out, take a look at the gas key staking. Staking looks pretty good, and then there's no gouges. It does have it marked Geissele on there. This is actually made from carpenter steel 158 plus, so there's a few things that Geissele have done to their bolt carrier grips to make them more reliable, according to them. So you've got the 158 carpenter steel plus for the bolt carrier, and the actual bolt is forged also, and they say that it's and the coating is a nano coating. I'll put the exact name in the bottom, and then they're saying the bolt is also been forged, and it should be should last 5 times longer than a mil-spec bolt, which is, if it's true, that is pretty freaking awesome. You gotta love that. They are obviously MPI and HPT tested, along with the barrel. They're also done that as well. So the bolt carrier groups looks excellent. The fit and finish is really nice. There's nothing that looks weird. Everything looks a-okay. All right, so let's go over shooting the gun. Shooting the gun was great. I had no problems as expected. It's got that kind of Geissele length, mid-length gas system, so it makes it a very smooth shooter. So yeah, no problems whatsoever. All right, so overall thoughts on this, it's a very solid gun. It's got some nice features and upgrades where you want them. One thing I kind of want to see on all AR-15s personally is an ambi safety. I think that it's a very little an extra cost, and it's something that just, it's super convenient, and they just kind of make sense, but that's okay. It didn't have that, but it does have some really nice other upgrades, as I said. So overall, really nice, good quality AR-15 compared to the Super Duty. It depends, right? Now, when these are going to typically run you about $1,500, a Super Duty is going to cost you $1,900, maybe a little more, depending on where you're looking, right? So is a Super Duty worth the extra cost? That's up to you. Depending on what you want out of a rifle, I think 99% of us will be good to go with the Duty rifle. If you like extremely nice triggers, obviously Super Duty would be the way to go. But other little things like, again, the ambi safety that's on the Super Duty, you could do that yourself. I mean, there's some other things on the Super Duty, but it really depends on you, what your budget is, what your purpose is. If you're looking for a very good solid rifle, and you just, you don't really care about those extras, this is definitely would be my choice out of the two. If you have a little more money, you want those little nicer features, totally get that, go with the Super Duty. But you wouldn't be disappointed either way, in my opinion. So at $1,500, these main competitors are going to be the BCM Recce rifles, maybe the LWRCs. They've gone up in price a little bit recently. You're going to be looking, this is more of a price range, more of a mid-tier AR-15, and it definitely handles itself really well in that kind of price category. So no complaints from me. Very good rifle. All right, folks, any questions, any comments, please ask them below. As always, I am happy to help out wherever I can. And that's it. Until next time, we'll catch you later.